right now. We are going to chop it up with my boy, Mr. Eddie Goldman, host of No Holds Barred Radio Podcast. Check him out at eddiegoldman.com. What's up, Eddie?
I'm hanging in. I guess one of the biggest things was this past Friday, I got the first dose of the coronavirus vaccine,
Nice.
the Pfizer BioNTech. And there's a story about that, and it's probably a common story for a lot of people, because the shots were being given, administered by New York Presbyterian, but better known as Columbia Presbyterian, at the Armory, which is about right next to the hospital, and they've been converting the Armory for all sorts of medical stuff. And when they first started doing it, there was this is in Washington Heights. The majority of people in Washington Heights are Latino. A lot of Dominicans. Some of the older people only speak Spanish or very little English, and it's a working class area, and they serve a lot of different communities. They serve Harlem, Upper Manhattan, some of the Bronx. So you have a lot of Latino and Black people and white working class and middle class people and all this. So when they first opened the Armory up to give the vaccines, a reporter from a very informative local website called The City went up there to see, this is earlier in the week, to see who's getting the vaccines. And they saw that the vast majority of people getting the vaccines were white, were from out of town, were from New Jersey, Long Island, all over the damn place. And people in the neighborhood couldn't get an appointment, because I've been trying every day to get an appointment for me and my wife, going on the website and calling up and all the, I know how to do this stuff. A lot of people have a difficulty doing it, but anyway, I couldn't get an appointment. And so all these people from what I call them medical tourists from the sticks are coming there and getting their vaccine shots. So this caused a big ruckus, and New York Presbyterian had to change its policy to prioritize people who lived within several zip codes in the area of the hospital: Harlem, Washington Heights, Inwood, and parts of the Bronx. And so after they did that, I went back on the website, and lo and behold, there were all these appointments available. So I just had to grab them, and so when I went there, sure enough, it looked like our community. Now in New York, other than the essential workers and people like that, they're prioritizing at this point people 65 and older. So there were a lot of elderly people there who were getting the vaccine, but it looked like our neighborhood, finally. And it was only because the media exposed, what this hospital was doing. And also then some of the politicians jumped on board and started howling and complaining, and they forced the hospital to open it up for the people in the community. And you're not going to have these medical tourists coming in anymore. And there have been other examples of this too. So if if you fight back, if you have a media that's going to expose some of these things, that's not willing to be subservient to a big hospital, you can get some things done. So I got we got the vaccine, and I'm
How are
having
you
some,
feeling?
well, I'm feeling okay, but some very, very minor side effects, which apparently are very common, like a low-grade fever and some soreness in the arm. And again, I have a lot of stuff wrong with me anyway, but apparently no big deal. And this is, you're told to expect this, particularly after the second dose, which I get in a couple of weeks. So we also have like a huge snowstorm coming here. So they're advising people just to stay inside, like it could be 14, 16 inches or whatever. So I'm just gonna, you know, chill a little bit, get some work done, see what happens, and watch some more
And
episodes of
stay
the,
indoors. Stay
yeah,
masked up.
I'm gonna watch some more episodes of The Expanse, which I've been binging on, and maybe some other things. So that's kind of where it's at. So I encourage people, protect yourself from the coronavirus, and when you're eligible, because they don't have enough doses, because
Right.
the clown Trump and Azar, this is even worse, if Azar lied about the whole thing. They didn't have a stockpile of vaccines, let alone a way to distribute them. So
Right.
this, all this is still a little bit chaotic, because a lot of these decisions are being made on a local level. And people have to fight for their rights on this, and it's going to take a while to get the vaccines to to get enough people vaccinated to really make a difference with this, because they're behind in production. And this is just the United States. I mean, you're reading about Japan. They haven't even approved the vaccine. That's coming in February, and they don't expect to start having mass distribution for a couple of months. Yet they claim the Olympics are going to go on, in July and August.
I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah, they a lot of crap about that. In fact, a guy that I know, Jim Walden, who's a very interesting guy, is an attorney, and he's an attorney for Dr. Grigory Rodchenkov, who was the whistleblower in
And the doping scandal?
the state-sponsored doping
Right.
scandals in American. So he's his attorney, and he's been writing stuff about it. And let me get the tweet that he did, because I've been saying that this ain't going to happen, even though Bach and these people say it's going to happen. So he was just kind of making jokes about it. And where's the damn tweet he said about this? He called it breaking news. I want to read the whole thing. Here we go. Oh no. Here we go. Breaking news. Japan announced it will hold the upcoming Olympics without athletes, fans, press, sponsors, or workers. Prime Minister
That's a
Yoshihide,
joke, right? Oh, yeah.
said he was determined to join in the IOC's core ideals, which is why he decided to make the Olympics a complete fantasy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's what's going on. And 80% of the people in Japan, according to two recent surveys, don't want the Olympics this year. They want it either canceled or postponed.
Right.
And they're going ahead with this, and they're saying, Bach on his press conference is saying, oh, every national Olympic committee, every international federation, every athlete, everybody we spoke with, they're all agreed we're going to go ahead with the Olympics. And, this sounds like something you'd hear from North Korea, that Kim Jong-un was elected with 99.9% of the votes or something like that.
Stuffing the ballot boxes. Yeah.
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 So
Okay,
that's,
so look, are you following the story about the impeachment trial, all of the attorneys
yeah,
at the
I'm
same
hoping
time?
that, yeah, because apparently some of the lawyers, and Trump brought in some high priced lawyers, wanted to use the dubious constitutional argument that wouldn't inflame people as much, that you can't punish a president who has left office.
Mm-hmm.
Now, legally, from what I heard, that's wrong, because there's precedent where not in presidents but other officials have been punished, by this
Absolutely.
afterwards. But that's not the real inflammatory kind of thing. And Trump said, no, I don't want to do that. I want to talk about how the election was rigged and blah, 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 blah. So that's just going to inflame things. But I don't know that there are enough Republicans that are willing to, because you can have all the 50 Democrats and their supporters vote to remove Trump. But
Right.
how many Republicans are going to do that? Because you need to get 17, and I don't think they're going to get to that level, because the Republican Party has just become a whole snake pit of fascism, open white supremacy,
They
and
don't even care anymore. They're not even trying to hide it. It is so ridiculous. I just can't believe it. Well, actually, I can't, because they want, they are really trying hard to convince people that they are correct in their thinking. And I'm fascinated by that. They are telling this big lie and they want people to believe it.
And I want to see that. I hope that the impeachment trial really goes hard after Trump. And I think they should bring in some of these witnesses that are broken with Trump because it'll get some media attention.
Oh, I think they will. I think they definitely
Well, there's the
will.
guy with the horns, the shaman guy and people
He
like
is
that.
fucking shaman, my ass.
Well, yeah, but the point is that this guy, who is probably one of the more innocuous types at this thing,
Uh-huh.
let him talk about how he was inspired by Trump, and says we were told by the commander in chief to go in there, and that guy's going to get and we were duped, we were played, so they should bring some of those people in there, and of course behind that, the prosecutors are going to say if you testify at the impeachment trial against Trump, you'll get a break on your sentence. But I don't know if the Democrats are going to do that. I don't know if they're going to go really hard on Trump and these fascists.
All I know is the Dems will lose the House in 2022 if they don't convict these insurrectionists. People want to see justice. We understand there are two justice systems in this world. Okay, we understand that. But these white boys need to go to jail.
If they were black, their asses would already be in jail.
Listen up, people. You can make fun of the Nazis, but you cannot make fun of the Holocaust. Got it?
A film that I would recommend if people want to see called The Last Laugh, and I think it's still on Amazon. And it was Fern Perlstein and Bob Edwards, who I knew from years ago. They did a film on sumo in the early 2000s, but they did this one where they interviewed Holocaust survivors and comedians like Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner and others to discuss this whole issue. This is not a comedy film. Was there any humor in the Holocaust? And the answer is no, but they also discussed how the people in the camps put on their own plays together, and they did all these things to cope and survive. And Mel Brooks made the point: you can make jokes about the Nazis, you can't make jokes about the Holocaust. So there's I don't think it's necessarily belittling the seriousness of what these Republican white supremacists are saying with all this kind of stuff, to ridicule it and make jokes. It really depends. So, I'm not Mel Brooks, but
no, right.
but
I get it.
there could be more jokes coming, and people have put up a lot of stuff, on social media about that. So I'm cool with that.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Eddie.
Yes, it's always great to talk with you, and stay safe. And this virus and all this shit is still there and still spreading, and where you are in the LA area and here in New York, so you still got to be safe.
That's
and
right.
I don't know at what point you'll be eligible to get a vaccine. And I read also that there were about 50 anti-science imbeciles disrupted the vaccine transmission at Dodger Stadium. They were having this thing. There was a thing the other day that the police had to come, but of course the police didn't arrest any of these people.
Oh, you anti-vaxxers, pandemic protesters organizing that bullshit on Facebook. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg, you allow that stupid ass shit to happen on your platform. To all you anti-vaxxers, if you don't want to get the vaccine, you don't want your children having the vaccine, then stay your stupid motherfucking asses home and let the rest of us get to work so we can go shop without a mask in a couple years. Because it ain't going to happen right now as long as you stupid motherfuckers are disrupting thousands of people at Dodger Stadium trying to get vaccinated so that we can go back to work and get this country back to work. But no, every time you show up to disrupt something, you are prolonging the pandemic. You are fucking delaying progress. So stay your stupid motherfucking anti-vaxxing asses home.
All right, sports justice fans, if you want in-depth analysis from the sage of combat sports, then definitely follow my friend Eddie Goldman, sports writer and political commentator of the No Holds Barred radio show, now on Patreon. Follow Eddie at NHB News on Twitter and Patreon. This show is also sponsored by Skull's Fight Shop, home of the world's first patented skull-shaped double-end punching bag. Order yours today at skullsfightshop.com. That's SKULLZ.
Peace out, Eddie.
Thank you. Be good.